Have you ever wondered if someone you currently know, perhaps a friend or a relative, is actually an enemy from a previous life?
In this video, we're going to show you how to know which people to look out for based on their date of birth. We're going to explain the astrological reason for this and give you the birth dates of your enemies based on the sign placement of Mars in your chart. So it's going to be based on you have Mars in this sign in your chart, and then we're going to give you a batch of dates, which can be people that can be enemies from a previous life.
So the basis of this technique involves overlaying the two charts of individuals to see any conjunctions of planets which are formed. And that's why it also is very complicated, because overlaying charts is a very complicated technique. But lucky for you, we've actually already done that for you in our research and for this video. So you don't have to go through all that. You can just watch us.
So to put this technique very simply, when someone's Ketu goes over your Mars, when you overlay your two birth charts on top of one another, that person can be identified as an enemy from a previous life. Results are going to vary based on many other factors in the charts, but generally speaking, if you cohabitate with this person or interact with them a lot, it will lead to conflicts.
So Mars in your chart can signify your strength, vitality, willpower, motivation, and Ketu can signify having to let go of something. And Ketu can also signify your past life karma.
So when this person's Ketu goes over your Mars, they may end up causing difficulties for you relating to the matters of the house where Mars is placed in your chart. And this may give you an extremely deflated feeling where your willpower is decreased as a result. So Mars represents your willpower, it represents your motivation, your vitality, your strength. And so their Ketu is kind of coming and it's taking that from you. Also, a Mars-Ketu conjunction in general can represent explosions of rage or confrontation, right? Especially sudden, unexpected explosions of rage. And so when this is happening in your two birth charts coming together, this can be a symptom. That resentment can build up, and the Ketu-Mars conjunction energy, when you two people are together, can create this explosion.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something to watch out for.
Yes, and these kinds of events can be seen between two individuals with this combination taking place. As with everything else in Vedic astrology, many factors should be taken into consideration before making any final decisions, especially when you're working with horoscope matching and overlaying. So don't just think, oh, Mars and Ketu, that's it. Yeah. You know, there's a lot more that goes into it. However, we can tell you some of the birth date ranges for individuals whose Ketu will go over your Mars.
So we're providing date ranges from 1940 to 2014. So this will cover 4 past cycles of Ketu's transit over the sign placement of Mars in your birth chart. And this just means that people born during these dates may act like an enemy from a previous life for you. So we'll start with Mars in Pisces and we'll move backwards through the zodiac, since Ketu moves backwards through the zodiac.
So if you have Mars in Pisces, Ketu was transiting the sign of Pisces on the following dates. Starting in February 18th, 1940, through September 6th, 1941, then September 25th, 1958, through April 13th, 1960, May 1st, 1977, through November 18th, 1978, and December 7th, 1995, through June 25th, 1997. Again, that was for if you have Mars in Pisces.
So just quickly to reiterate how you would use this is basically that if you have it Mars in Pisces and you know that someone is, let's say if someone was born in 1959, that would definitely 100% be between the dates of September 25th, 1958 and April 13th, 1960. So if someone was born in 1959, they would be 66 years old right now in 2025, I think. So if you know that someone is 66 years old, that's all that for you with Mars in Pisces, that is all that you would need to know for the most part. I would double check by knowing their real birth date, but that's all that you would need to know there could be an issue with this person. And again, it's not to create any kind of paranoia or to disrupt your relationships that already exist. It's just to give you more power, more understanding of what could be going on between you and all these different people.
Yes, and that's without, of course, looking at all the other layers that are involved.
Exactly. So if you have Mars in Aquarius, Ketu was transiting the sign of Aquarius on the following dates: September 6, 1941 through March 27, 1943, April 13, 1960 through October 31, 1961, November 18, 1978 through June 6, 1980, and June 25, 1997 through January 12, 1999.
All right, if you have Mars in Capricorn, K2 was transiting the sign of Capricorn on these following dates: March 27th, 1943 through October 13th, 1944, October 31st, 1961 through May 20th, 1963, June 6th, 1980 through December 25th, 1981, and January 12th, 1999 through July 31st, 2000.
If you have Mars in the sign of Sagittarius in your astrological birth chart, K2 was transiting the sign of Sagittarius on the following dates: October 13th, 1944 through May 2nd, 1946, May 20th, 1963 through December 6th, 1964, December 25th, 1981 through July 14th, 1983, and July 31st, 2000 through February 17th, 2002.
If you have Mars in Scorpio, K2 was transiting the sign of Scorpio on May 2nd, 1946 through November 19th, 1947, December 6th, 1964 through June 25th, 1966, July 14th, 1983 through January 30th, 1985, February 17th, 2002 through September 6th, 2003.
If you have Mars in the sign of Libra, K2 was transiting the sign of Libra on November 19th, 1947 through June 7th, 1949, June 25th, 1966 through January 13th, 1968, January 30th, 1985 through August 19th, 1986, and September 6, 2003 through March 25th, 2005.
If you have Mars in Virgo, K2 is transiting the sign of Virgo on June 7th, 1949 through December 25th, 1950, January 13th, 1968 through August 1st, 1969, August 19th, 1986 through March 7th, 1988, and March 25th, 2005 through October 13th, 2006.
If you have Mars in Leo, K2 was transiting Leo on December 25th, 1950 through July 13th, 1952, August 1st, 1969 through February 18th, 1971, March 7th, 1988 through September 24th, 1989, and October 13th, 2006 through May 1st, 2008.
If you have Mars in Cancer, K2 was transiting the sign of Cancer on July 13th, 1952 through January 31st, 1954, February 18th, 1971 through September 6th, 1972, September 24th, 1989 through April 13th, 1991, and May 1st, 2008 through November 18th, 2009.
If you have Mars in Gemini, K2 was transiting the sign of Gemini on the following dates: January 31st, 1954 through August 20th, 1955. September 6, 1972 through March 26, 1974. April 13th, 1991 through October 31st, 1992. And November 18th, 2009 through June 7th, 2011.
And if you have Mars in Taurus, K2 is transiting the sign of Taurus on August 20th, 1955 through March 8th, 1957. March 26th, 1974 through October 13th, 1975. October 31st, 1992 through May 20th, 1994. June 7th, 2011 through December 24th, 2012. And our last one, Mars in Aries. K2 was transiting the sign of Aries on March 8th, 1957 through September 25th, 1958. October 13th, 1975 through May 1st, 1977. May 20th, 1994 through December 7th, 1995. And December 24th, 2012 through July 13th, 2014.
So you may have noticed that there are some transits of K2 from 2014 until the present day that we haven't included in this. And there are probably some before 1940 that we haven't included in this. The reason for that is basically that if someone was born before 1940, at this point they would be over 85 years old. And so if they are acting as an enemy toward you, I mean, there can be all kinds of situations, but I don't think they would be much of a threat. And the same, if someone is like 10 years old, I don't think you need to really be thinking of them as an enemy that much.
Yeah.
So,
like your niece is born and now you think it's an
enemy.
enemy.
You think it's an enemy. Yes, we don't want to create that problem.
No.
Obviously, you can do the research yourself and figure it out, but you don't need to focus on that much. This is more for like equals for the most part. So there are the dates. You might want to keep people born during these times at arm's length if their K2 goes over your Mars in your birth chart. A past life enemy can also be seen if your K2 goes over that person's Mars. However, the effects are going to be a little bit different than what we described in this video, and so it's kind of beyond the scope of this video. Also, Mars transits much faster through the zodiac, so our list of dates would be much more extensive to do a video on that. However, this is something that can be seen if you look up the person's birth chart and just see the sign placement of their Mars and your K2.
So there you have it. We hope you enjoyed this video. I think it's a really interesting little thing to learn about. And be sure to subscribe to our channel and, of course, like our video and leave us a comment.
Let us know if you figured out from this video someone in your life that might actually be an enemy from a previous life. And let us know what your experience was like with them. We definitely want to hear about that.
Yes, and don't forget to check out our website, atmaoccult.com. We have tons of consultation options for you if you'd like to learn a little bit more about your life.